Assalamualaikum everyone, this is Ayesha from CxO Global Forum, a knowledge sharing platform for all the C levels across Pakistan and around the globe. Every time we have some very interesting guests with us. Today as well, we have some Malik Ahmed Sheheryar, who is a Chief Financial Officer at TPL Trakker Ltd. Assalamualaikum sir, how are you?
Ji, Walaikum Assalam, Aisha. I'm very well, thank you. How about you?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah. Sir, starting off with your journey and your background, how would you introduce yourself to us?
Well, again, my name is Malik Sheheryar. You introduced me already. Uh, I was a pre-med student who got into finance at the finance field through the CA program introduced by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan way back in '99. Then I got into the accounting audit firm PwC Karachi in 2001, where I completed my articles and also my CA degree. Then during that program, I also was able to complete my ACCA as well as my master's in economics. After that, I got an opportunity to go into the field, the non-audit field in Bermuda. I was there for 4 years as the financial controller, uh, after which I had a small stint in PIA, which led me into my stint as the CFO in Cyber Private Limited, a Laxon Group company. This is way back in 2012, and from there onwards, I've been in this position as a CFO. 7 years I spent in Cyber, and then I joined TPL Tracker in 2019, and that's basically where how my journey is till now in the capacity of CFO for the past about a good 15 years.
Right. So, sir, what do you find most fueling about working in finance and strategy at this level within the organization?
What do I find most fulfilling?
Fueling,
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
like something that you really want to stay in the line of finance and strategy at this level within your own company.
Yeah, yeah. So the thing that really interests me as a finance professional, right, is your ability to or your position in the organization to make a change, right? So
Right.
effectively, developing financial strategies to direct an organization and to make sure that it keeps to its financial objectives, its organizational objectives, is basically what is most exciting and interesting about being in the finance field in this organization.
Right. So, what are the key responsibilities that you have to, fulfill at this level?
Okay, so key responsibilities, generally speaking, come from as a CFO, right? Revolve around developing and implementing financial strategies, managing the
Right.
financial health of the organization. Making sure that your strategies and your KPIs are aligned with the business objectives. Managing the risk around the organization, both internal as well as external. Um, Budgeting, forecasting, and ensuring that uh, we provide insights as a function as the office of the CFO for the decision making that happens all across the organization at all levels.
Right. So, how would you basically approach financial decision making and strategy formulation within the company?
Okay, that's a good question. How I'd approach that generally is it's a very holistic and a data driven approach that I normally take, right? Which includes performing comprehensive analyses, considering various scenarios, what if scenarios, evaluating potential risks and opportunities that may be coming about. It also, to an extent, involves collaboration and alignment with other departments to achieve the business objectives. Um, I do emphasize personally adaptability to the changing environment and agility. I mean, you have to be able to change fairly quickly your line of sight as and when you see things changing around you.
Right. So, can you share some examples of successful financial strategies that you have been implemented in the past?
Okay, finances. Okay, so most of our financial I mean, ones that I've actually been part of, generally include cost optimization programs. I mean, from the start, ever since I joined the field, but it kind of evolves into what it centers around, right? So now most of the cost optimization kind of centers around the technology advancements, right? So considering the AIs of the world, considering robotics, basically looking at how what is the best way to achieve efficiencies in your work to both achieve uh, cost optimization as well as improvement in your performance, improvement in how you get the work done. So that's something which I've done across my career in one form or the other. The other thing that uh, I normally do is now looking at the commercial side of finance. Right? So looking at all the commercial decisions that the company is making, we evaluate various revenue streams to ensure that they're profitable, or at least reducing or identifying some potential new revenue streams to get some diversity into the top line of the organization as well. That's something that I've also been able to do in this organization.
Right. So, what do you personally believe sets apart effective financial leadership in today's business landscape?
That's again a good question. Effective financial leadership, right? So it generally involves a combination of you know strong analytical skills, obviously,
Right.
adaptability to the changing environment, and the ability to keep up with those changes, and and also the ability to communicate complex, or I don't say complex, but at least financial concepts in a clear way to the other stakeholders. Because you have to remember that CFO is a storyteller for most of the stakeholders, right? So uh, it is very important for effective leadership to foster that culture uh, with innovation, collaboration, and very importantly, continuous improvement, while not forgetting or not overseeing the risk management and the compliances within your role.
So, how do you stay updated about the changes and the developments in this industry that may impact your role?
Well, again, in this day and age, I mean, you have so many sources, right, to stay informed. I mean, I'm a member of both the ACCA as well as ICAP, so there are a lot of publications. Professional networking obviously plays a part as well. Conferences, virtual conferences have made it a lot easy to keep up to speed. And again, basically, we have a program which is called the Continuous Professional Development across all our professional bodies. Also, again, looking at market trends, you have various social media websites like LinkedIn has been great in actually teaching you, having a lot of courses. Uh, so that's something which helps you out in at least keeping abreast with the technology and the advances and what's going on in the world and within also the ambit of finance.
So, every industry that one might be in, everybody faces challenges.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
how would you address your challenges that you have faced in this position?
Okay. Again, facing challenges. So most of the challenges that come about, right, in my position is surrounded by uncertainty and volatility, right? Especially right now in the current environment, where you have economic fluctuations, you have geopolitical risks, you have, and at a global level as well, right? So generally, how I address this is you have to be resilient, right? There is something which I always like about being in an organization is the DNA of the organization, right? Where it's a resilient organization, and if it's not, you try to push it. One, resilience. Number one. Number two, the agility. Both within the organization as well as in the strategies and financial strategies that we develop. We introduce the scenario planning, what if scenarios, and then basically test those scenarios through various environmental changes and see how it pans out, and then being able to change if it is not working fairly quickly. So, innovation and adaptability, basically, I would say is the best way to navigate through the biggest challenges that we are facing in our industry right now, which is uncertainty and volatility.
Right. Another question is how do you foster collaboration and communication between the finance department and the other departments in your organization?
Okay, okay, that's easier said than done, honestly. So the one way to go about it is basically remove the us versus them barrier, right? So you have to take the
Right.
barriers down. You have to collaborate. You have to. There are two things that you can see as an organization, right? Either you see the other person as your own team member, or if not, at least a customer. Both of which require excellence. Both of which require uh, transparency, open dialogue, obviously, an opportunity for knowledge sharing, right? That has to be there as well. So that's something which, as again, as a leader in the organization, you have to drive, which has been something which I personally believe in. They have to be very very clear communication lines. Mutual objectives have to be overlooked, as well as I mean, we do have successes that departments achieve together, and I think it's very very prudent to at least celebrate those successes, and it again strengthens the culture within the organization.
Right. So, sir, what are your views on the role of technology and data analytics in modern financial management?
Oh yes, like I mentioned, right? So technology isn't going anywhere, and I think in fact instead of being um, apprehensive about it, we need to embrace it, uh, which again ties into finance very, very comfortably. Technology and data analytics play a very critical role in financial management, right? It provides valuable insights, it improves the quality of decision making. Again, which I mentioned, through innovation, you have cost efficiencies that you can look at. Um, Better decision making also helps out in getting actionable intelligence from large volumes, large data sets. Um, it provides real time monitoring, so your closing activities, your monthly closing activities, uh, get more efficient. You are able to get the relevant information analysis out in better timelines, be able to be agile, as I mentioned. So effectively, technology is facilitating everything that the finance function
Exactly.
is evolving into as a strategic partner to the businesses and the stakeholders at large.
Can you describe particularly a challenging project, or I could say a memorable project that you have been involved till now at this position?
No, that's a it's a good thing that you mentioned memorable, right? So I'd say the most memorable. I mean, I've had a good number of memories associated with projects,
Right.
right? While in this position, um, one of them was in Bermuda. I won't really get into it because it's a but I will tell you this much, that basically set the stage for me as a personal and a professional attribute to what to seek in a role within the organization and as well as a person. But what I want to really get into, which is more recent, relatively recent, uh, is in TPL Tracker, where the project was rolling out the IPO, getting the company listed on the PSX. So the interesting or the challenging part was we had planned on doing it in 2019 December, right? We had targeted about Decemberish, um, but if you remember, COVID hit around about Jan February 2020. So
Yes.
the challenging bit was the management's and our own decision to to take it on and roll forward with the IPO. So you can very well imagine doing all of the things that I mentioned as a finance leader and coordinating with all the stakeholders, external, internal, the teams, all the teams in the organization, all the extra stakeholders outside the organization during the COVID time to get that rolled out um, in August of 2020. Uh, that was something which was very very memorable. I mean, it's something which I was doing for the first time, listing a company on the PSX, and I can very very safely say that's something which I will probably I would never forget.
So, sir, how do you balance the need for financial discipline and innovation within the company?
Ooh, that's a good one as well. It's not as easy as one would think because you have to understand. I mean, conventional finance generally is very, very against expending, right? Whether it be on anything, could be anything which improves something on the longer term. But yeah, your initial instinct is basically, okay, wait, stop. Let's focus on making money rather than spending it out. But the more you focus your lens outward and a bit more with the foresight, right? Um, it becomes easier, but still you have to take a very very careful and strategic approach to having financial discipline and then innovation in the same equation. It is very very important. I will not uh, 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 underscore, at least I will not underrate the need for the financial discipline. It is definitely required to maintain operational efficiency and regulatory compliance. But
Right.
other hand, innovation does drive growth. It 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 fosters competitive. It improves the organization overall. So, and adaptability is again very very important. If you don't if you really adaptability becomes the need of the hour, and innovation is one of the tools, is one of the more important tools to get that through. So again, there is a balance between those two elements, but again, you have to at least strive to develop a culture where yes, there is innovation but has to be responsible. Very very robust frameworks for governance in the organization, again, so that it doesn't really get out of hand. And there is a continuous evaluation, right, of processes or strategies. I mean, it's a very dynamic process. So there is no one balance that you can strike. You have to keep on tweaking it as you go along.
What advice would you give to someone aspiring to this career in finance, especially aiming for the leadership roles like you?
Okay, I probably jotted down to three things, right? So um, first important thing is, at least when you're starting off, focus on the foundation, right? You have to have a strong foundation in your field. Complete your qualifications, get them done, be thorough, be focused, get them done, get them out of the way first, right? Then, obviously, during the rest of your career, you can obviously delve into continuous learning, formal, informal, however you want to do it, right? The second thing is basically strong communication skills, right? Develop communication skills, develop interpersonal skills, because if you want to be a leader, right, relationship building is very, very critical. Collaboration, relationship building is very, very critical for you to thrive as a leader. And thirdly and lastly, not we should not be nobody should be afraid of taking on new challenges. I mean, I've seen people who whose bosses have left, and the entire plethora of the responsibilities of that department tends to fall on them, and they tend to panic, right? And my advice to them was always try it. Don't be afraid. You will only improve and grow because you'll be exposed to things which you wouldn't normally be exposed to. You learn by doing. So never be afraid of taking on new challenges. Seek help. You're always learning. Ask questions. Ask if you need help. Nobody will think lesser of you, and any opportunities for growth and development that you get, you grab it. Basically, those three things basically are important for leaders.
Right. Finally, sir, what do you see as the future direction of financial strategy and management? And how do you envision your role evolving in response to that?
Well, I guess the future, future I mentioned, right? So, data technology is basically the future, and one thing that is actually coming up fairly quickly, right? Not fairly quickly, in fact, it's something which I'm also fairly passionate about, which is the ESG initiative, right? The environmental, social, and governance considerations. Uh, I've had a chance to discuss this with some people, had a chance to write on it a bit. It has a very interesting history, right, where it concerns moving, where it began as a social movement and moved to, I mean, it began as a social movement, and I think it still will evolve into a bigger, larger movement, which requires again continuous assessment of your financial strategies, of your approach to businesses. That's very important. So, in terms of my role, I think it encompasses uh, greater emphasis on my part on making use of advanced analytics. AI definitely is going to be an important aspect when you want to extract um, uh, actionable insights from the data, right? Uh, and drive innovation across the organization. Again, mentioned about ESG, so I anticipate uh, greater integration uh, between departments to ensure the ESG considerations will be met, because that's something which is going to come up fairly quickly, and it has to be a natural evolution, right? I don't see it as something which is imposed. Like I mentioned, it's something which started off as a social movement, and it should
Right.
be married to the organization in a very natural manner. Although there is a school of thought which says that they are effectively contradictory in their DNA, but I'm sure as the world goes on, this will become there will be an equilibrium that we'll reach. Also, I foresee for myself a continued emphasis on, like I mentioned, agility, adaptability, continuous improvement. Definitely will be there, um, to improve, to optimize financial performance. Um, and I guess that's about it. So it is an increasingly complex and interconnected world, and all of these things will be needed to ensure that, at least in my role, I'm there to support it and to lead it back in the organization.
Done with all the questions, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everybody who's joined us. As we conclude, I hope that our viewers would be able to learn something out of this talk. I truly appreciate the time that you have dedicated to this discussion, sir. Thank you once again.
No, thank you so much, Aisha, for taking me on, and good closer to the rest of all of your viewers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.